Animation on After Effects can seem a little daunting for beginners. That's why in this tutorial I'm gonna show you how easy it is to create simple animations using keyframes and a layer's basic properties. So go ahead, make a new composition to follow along, and let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in a new composition where I'm gonna demonstrate at a very basic level how to animate using keyframes with this basic shape layer. Keyframes are how you tell the program the start and end point of an animation. Here's how you do it. Select the layer that you want to animate, in this case is the ball layer, and bring out the properties by clicking out on this arrow, then bringing out the transform properties. Now, if you want this ball to move from left to right, you will want to animate its position parameter. So, move the playhead to where you want the animation to start. In this case, I want it to begin at 1 second. Then click this little stopwatch next to the position property to set a keyframe. This will record the current state of the position as the beginning of the animation. Then move the playhead forward to where you want the animation to end, and then just move the layer. Alternatively, you can also move the layer by clicking on the position and manually typing it out. Or you can just click and drag numbers down here in the properties. By changing the position value, this will automatically set a keyframe for the second state of the animation. Now, if you go back to the beginning and hit the spacebar, After Effects will interpolate between these two values to automatically generate all of the in-between frames. That's it. You can do the same thing with the rotation parameter, for example. Here I will demonstrate it using a different shape. So I'm gonna bring out the star by clicking on this eyeball. I'm gonna bring out its properties, transform, rotation. I'm gonna set the keyframe here on 1 second just to match it with the other one. I'm gonna remove this so it's not distracting. Move forward, set the value. In this case, I'm gonna set it to rotate 1 time. And now look, go back and play. See? Now these animations are kind of robotic and dull. Some clients love them, but we wanna do better, right? To add easing and smooth out this motion, just select your keyframes. I'm gonna go back to the ball and bring out the position keyframes. Highlight your keyframes, then press F9 on your keyboard. This will add the default easing to your keyframes, making it so it eases out of the first frame and slows down before reaching the final frame. And to demonstrate this further, I'm gonna make this a little bit slower by dragging the first keyframe back, which will slow down the whole animation as a bonus tip. So see how it begins slow, speeds up, and then settles in. And to compare, I will bring this back to linear keyframes, just constant speed. And this is how it is after applying the easing, pressing F9. But what if you want the circle to go in a curve motion? You will notice that you can see this motion path in your composition view. This represents the path that your object is following, and you can modify it to make your object follow the path you want rather than having to keyframe each position. Select either the start or the end keyframe in the composition view or down on your timeline, and you will see these big dots appear. Click and drag them to see these handles. These are Bezier handles that you can drag around to control how this path curves around. The real deep explanation of how this works is this: mess with them until it feels right. There you have it. Play, and now it's curving around. You can also, I'm gonna also drag them down, and we have kind of like this S shape. Easy. Now let's dive in a little bit deeper in order to control the easing of this movement. Sure, you can make it slower or faster by dragging the keyframes down here in the timeline to bring them closer, or farther back to make it slower. But by changing the easing, you can achieve really smooth motion without changing the duration of your animation. Here's how. Select your keyframes, then click on this little graph icon on the top left. Well, now don't be scared. It looks super geeky, but I promise this is really easy. First, we need to go back to this speed graph. And to do that, you gotta click this little icon down here and choose Edit Speed Graph. Now see these dots, this white dot? These are your keyframes. And this graph represents the speed of your animation as it varies over time. See how it slowly ramps up, then goes down? This is the default smoothing that we apply by pressing F9. But if we grab these handles, we can control if this ramps up earlier or later. By dragging this forward and this handle back, we are putting all of the weight of the animation on the second keyframe, meaning it's gonna start super slow and speed up near the end. As you can see right there, this is the peak of the speed. Alternatively, if we drag this back, and we drag this one back as well, we're putting all of the weight on the beginning, meaning that it's gonna start super fast and end up pretty slow. See? And if we look at the motion path, see these little dots? They are a little bit hard to see. These represent each frame of the animation. So see how here they are spaced out and over here they are very close together, representing the easing that we just set on our graph. Pretty cool, huh? If you find this really cool, make sure to drop a like. Very nice. If I drag them both to the middle of the curve, it will start slow and end slow, but have a really fast middle. Amazing, don't you think? Now this can apply to absolutely everything. Most of the animation work that you will do will be to apply these principles to scale, rotation, and position to do most of your animation work. But this idea can apply to any property inside of After Effects that has a stopwatch icon, including special effects like blurring, glows, and more. So be sure to experiment to create lots of creative effects. Now keep in mind, most of these animations happen according to the layer's anchor point. If you want your layer to scale up or rotate from a specific point, you will have to move its anchor point to the point that you desire. To do so, grab the pan behind tool up here, or by pressing Y, then clicking and dragging the layer's anchor point to where you need it. If you hold Ctrl or Command, you can snap it to the edges of the layer like this. You can snap. I'm gonna snap it right here into the bottom, and now when I rotate it, it's gonna rotate according to the anchor point like this. So I can very easily create an animation where it goes from being flat to being to its original position like this, and then I can easy ease them, go into the speed graph, easy ease them by pressing F9, go to the speed graph. In this case, this is the value graph. Let's go back to the speed graph and dragging it in like this to have a really nice beginning and end ease. And I can make it faster by dragging the keyframe back. So that was a quick example of a very easy animation. It took me less than a minute to make. Now, is this enough? For most clients, it is, but we can get even cooler effects by adding overshoots or overlapping animations. I will show you how to easily add this in the next part, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you found this video helpful, drop a like so I know that these are helping someone out there at least. Good job making it here. See you in the next video.